AKIRA is a sci-fi anime that contains bikes, tanks, guns, cities, giant flesh monsters, and many themes that are too complicated to explain right now. I watched it last year, and I really liked it. But as a vehicle enjoyer, one thing really stood out in particular, which would be Kaneda's bike. Kaneda is, I suppose, the protagonist of AKIRA, and he drives this very loud, very flashy, very cool looking motorcycle. Now, Kaneda leads a biker gang around the streets of post-World War III Neo-Tokyo, and in the film, we see them fight other biker gangs, one of these fights which is very well known. And while most people think of that scene when they think of Kaneda's bike, it appears when Kaneda is fighting Tetsuo towards the end of the film. And we just have Kaneda, his bike, and his laser gun. I just think this is one of the coolest combinations of protagonist and tools, I guess. And so after seeing this, I was like, I'm going to be building this at some point. And here we are with this model of Kaneda's bike, I guess we'll call it. Now, when it comes to Lego and Kaneda's bike, it's kind of like the Ferrari F40 or the Toyota Supra in that everyone has built one. But at the same time, if you like it enough, you can find a way to build it and make it unique. Now, while I normally build vehicles, I obviously don't normally build motorcycles, and so this is a little bit different. The last video, coincidentally, was a movie vehicle that is definitely not a car, so we're on a bit of a trend, I suppose. But it was a pretty straightforward building process. Going over some techniques used, it's really simple. It feels weird talking about this because it's so simple compared to one of the cars. But at the same time, there's some cool stuff. The front kind of core, I guess, is using some interesting sideways building. The front wheel is just held in with friction to try and get this relatively accurate shape with the dishes on the sides of the wheels, or I suppose these are inverted tiles. The front windshield is not the cleanest thing ever, but it does capture the general shape, and so I think when you have a minifigure on there, the whole thing just looks a bit, it brings the whole model together a bit. The rear seat is, again, very simple, just some dark brown pieces kind of sitting inside the back of the bike. A lot of parts of the bike are hinged. The whole rear section is hinged, basically. The front wheel and its whole kind of front assembly are also hinged, so you can move this around a lot, which actually is realistic, because the bike in the film can at least move the front part up and down as the rider gets into it. The rear is maybe a bit chunkier than I'd like, but it works fine. It has the cool rear wheel support on one side, which is one of my favorite parts of the original design. We have a Kaneda minifigure who is very, well, low on the detail, because I did not have many parts particularly suited to building a minifigure of Kaneda. I think the bike looks a lot better with a minifigure on it. As you can see, the minifigure has to hold this bar piece to represent the handlebars because there's not really that much space to attach one. And the minifigure can hold the laser gun. In this case, it's the Brick Arms HLC, which is a very, very cool Lego compatible minifigure weapon. And we get to recreate that very cool combination of protagonist and bike and gun. Now, I've made instructions for this where you can go to the website. And so that is it for this video. There's not too much to talk about in this video, as it's a rather small model and there's not a lot to it, but I am very happy with it, and I will say it does look incredibly cool alongside the other cars. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching, and maybe I will see you in the next video.